Here's the kind of cosmic, slightly out there one. So, the reclamation. It was really important to give you context because I don't know all of you. And I was the one who channeled those words in June, and there were different levels of reclamations that we did with some of our students. It's important that you feel somehow grounded with what we're saying, because I have to know that responsibly, if I've written something and giving it to you, that you understand why we're saying it. Okay. So there's quite an important bit in this reclamation that is super important to the evolution of all of us. As I've said, we've got a womb space, it's a portal. And as I've said as well, it's the degree to which it's a portal is not even fully acknowledged just yet. Now, we have shadow aspects, and this time we're in is a time to really zero point our obscurations, our neurotic, manipulative, devious bits. And for a lot of men, they find that females, the shadow traits of them can be the manipulative side. And for women, I think a lot of women have an issue with men and how they got embroiled with the shadow aspects of what the patriarchy brought through. And we were talking earlier about this fact that we're going up into the higher dimensions, and we talk about fifth dimensional consciousness, and that is what they say the age of Aquarius is going to bring in. Fifth dimensional consciousness is more about the community, about love, about being communal and not all being about me and competition and shitting on other people and stuff like that, and jealousy and all these things that are basically imbalances of the lower centers. Once we've moved into the heart more and we've eliminated fear and things, and we start to share and understand that we don't all have to be the center of attention all the time, and sometimes we can be the quiet one, and all of these things, and we'll start to actually find our place, because most of us are lost. Most of us don't know where we belong, and it's like a true grieving. And this is also, this links that back to so many traumas around birth and tribe and things like that we're collectively working with at the moment. Now, in the unseen realms, we have things that are linked to our emotions, and some people call these things entity type energies, and in a sense they're these parasitical energies that kind of feed off things and people. Now, they're kind of thought forms, and there's no point in giving them too much energy. What I want to just explain is that as we are growing, there are things that are becoming lost that used to be in us. So the things like the patriarchal system, which is collapsing, these systems that don't really serve people and communities, especially people who come from poorer backgrounds or non-Western world privilege, these systems are going to probably reshuffle quite a lot. And it's very important for us to regain back our personal power, to be in a higher vibration so that we don't create a lower timeline. Now, it's very easy for women to identify the patriarchy with men, and this is a shortcoming. And this further exacerbates this feud between what is called the masculine and the feminine, and we have all of it inside us. Actually, as we evolve, we're probably going to become less gender orientated and less sexualized, and this is probably a likely evolution of our species, but we're not there yet. So that's why I'm in a space talking about female stuff and male stuff. And it's super important that we learn that we, who have the body of the creatrix, we have to do our work first. And if we want the patriarchy to shift properly, it's firstly very important for us to start to understand that this madness that we're coming out of, and if you look at history, there's just madness everywhere. And I think most of us are just like, could we have a nicer time? And we're here to create a new golden age and a new way of being. We want to eradicate suffering. We want to bring in tribe and community and love and cool stuff. And to do that, we do have to have a look at ourselves. And It's all very easy to point the finger at the masculine having held all the shitty stuff. But as the creatrix, we have had our role to play in stuff. And if you look through history, there's been such a lot of mistrust of women of women. And you can see when big groups of alpha females get together, it's pretty daunting stuff. And how women use their looks and, and stuff to allure people and in, you know, entrance people. And that's not okay, really, because it's often competitive. It's Men don't like it. They then think that the all of women are manipulative and devious, and it's really important to look at that shadow toxic side of us, because a lot of that is actually daddy wounds, not having attention when we were young, and it's going back to these lower center woundings, which are basically about stuff where we didn't get attention one time, we didn't get a toy when we wanted it, and then suddenly the manipulative female kicks in and she projects out that it's all the men are bad, she's this beautiful goddess, I'm the goddess. And then we have these hordes of over goddessy people who are still covering up the daddy wounds, or just these inherited wounds. So it might not have happened this time, but it might have happened the past four generations. So it's really time for us to take stock of shadow femininity. Because actually, if we look at things the right way, we're all a Buddha. We've all got the potentiality to be a Buddha. And these inherited things are not necessarily ours. We have to take stock and we have to be accountable and we have to call it when we've had it. But what we can actually do is start to incant to the higher part of us and to the universe that we choose no more to be a subordinated, lower vibrational womb, but to have our cosmic womb remembered and to actually remember we are an infinite being and we are connected to a higher energy and actually bring it on. So there's something of a possession state that women are in when they become manipulative. And there's something of a possession state that the male patriarchy is in that's cutting down our fucking mother. Okay, well, not the mother, but the trees that live in her, and just shafting her. And we have inherited a sickness and insanity that's particularly prevalent in the developed, really, world. And that is why, in order for this age of Aquarius to come in, and because the women come first, because they give birth and they're the creatrixes, if we truly want the men to heal and the mother to stop being shafted and for the true age to come in, it starts with us. So we have to be truthful. The men see when we lie. The men see the deception. And I've been in meetings where I was kind of shocked at first. I could see it, like when they were speaking of it, but I saw how angry they were. This happened the last few years. I sat in a few, and then I've been really checking myself over the last 15 years on all of this stuff. And I've hardly had any relationships and things. I've really gone to work on this. But those talks with those guys, I really got to look at where I still had little aspects of it. And I was really grateful to do the Cosmic Womb reclamation in June to just really iterate to the cosmos. I want this gone. I'm doing my work. And on behalf of the females, we are reclaiming our womb, because any energetic that is not, that it's basically in the fourth dimension, fear attracts wonky energies. So anything that's our contracted womb space, our violated womb space, our angry womb space is not in its right relation, okay? It's not the receptive, beautiful, multidimensional womb space. So it's important that we reclaim it with our own voices, and that means reclaiming it from pornography, reclaiming it from the deception, and then we can actually call in that we are reinstating it to its highest form. And that will help us to reinvigorate this intuition, these beautiful gut feelings, that the nadis, the energy systems in the umbilical cord and beyond, can come through from the imprint of the lotus leaf of the placenta as well, and this mirror to the higher consciousness. And by so doing, And what we can do is also, because men have an etheric womb, they have a sacral area, we can also dedicate this to assist our brothers. And what's beautiful is each time we've done the cosmic womb, we did it 6 months ago, we're doing it again, we've got groups of brothers who we're working with who are doing their work on the shadow of the shadow masculine. So this is beautiful tantric union. This is away from the sleazy tantra. And when I say tantra, I'm talking about what some of you may think of as tantra. Tantra is a very, very deep system of weaving that's very, very ancient, and it's not all about sex. In fact, sex is one tiny little thing about it. But when we want to come into union, to be in like a divine, sublime emptiness of belonging and being beyond thought with all that is, that means we're in a higher vibration where all of our egoic stuff switched off and we feel truly connected with all that is. We as the women can call that in, and that is the ultimate service of devotion for the men, because look at them right now. We have a planet that's really in the planetary situation is strife. The planet is not necessarily in strife. She will kick back in whatever way she needs to. But we need to get in line with her. And this is what these meditations and prophecies around solstice are all about. And there's a huge, huge collective movement of people doing meditations and work to all align with the mother. So when we align with our inner multi-dimensional mother and womb space and come back into frequency of being part of that, we can actually ask that any of those fourth dimensional weird energies were sitting that clung on to the fear-based womb, that they can be released. And we can open that up for our ancestors and help that to go through the quantum field. And in so doing, what we're actually doing is enabling the patriarchy to rejig and maybe not be called the patriarchy anymore. And by so doing, we can also let go of our association with men as the patriarchy and understand that the patriarchy was an entity, just as the manipulative was an entity, and clean ourselves. And if we give space for that to happen, because we're the ones with the womb space and the receptivity, we are creating an energy for a new way of being on the planet to take place. The womb is a space of dreaming. And when we dream and receive and weave together, truly the miraculous is possible. So we look forward to weaving with you over these next weeks. We will keep the space, the countdown is now. So we're launching today on the 8th of December, wrong month. And that's 13 days into solstice. So 13 is a very transcendental number. And then we're going to keep the space open, because in the galactic Mayan calendar, which also works with natural law and natural time, we're in two beautiful 13-day cycles, one of which is about the dragon and the primordial womb energies in many ways. And the next is the wizard, which is about the shaman and timelessness and receptivity. And again, is a womb space. So we're going to let the space be open for a month, so that we can share how it's going, because nothing happens immediately on the day, but you have this time to really make your iteration, and for us to stand together to really honor these times and honor the higher vibrational sense of being that we are about to step into, and honoring the womb that we all have, and calling it in for the men too, because they deserve it too. Loads of love. Ciao, ciao.